Okay, it is 5 o'clock. Let's go ahead and call to order the work session of the East Grand Forks City Council for Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. Will the city clerk please call roll?
Mayor Mark Olstead.
Here.
Council President Brian Larson.
Here.
Council Vice President Tim Rayfeld.
Here.
Council Members Tammy Schumacher.
Here.
Ben Pukshavinsky. Dale Helms.
Here.
Donald Caseme.
Here.
Karen Peterson.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Item number 1, consider approval for the Parks and Recreation Commission bylaw update. Mr. King.
Thank you, Council President, City Council, and Mayor. Here today to look at a bylaw update for the Parks and Rec Commission. Over the last, I suppose, 8 months, we've had the talks with the Parks and Rec Commission about making an amendment to shift our meetings from a once-a-month meeting to a quarterly meeting. We feel that by making that transition and shifting to quarterly meetings, we can make better use of our commissioners' time while still providing enough opportunities to address the important topics. We set the designated months to be scheduled to coincide with the beginning and the end of our summer and winter activities. The Parks and Rec Commission already approved the bylaw update, so to make it official, we have to bring it forward to the City Council for approval. There is no budget impact, and the recommendation would be to approve the updated bylaws.
Okay, any questions for Mr. King? I see none.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 2, consider awarding the annual sewer cleaning project. Mr. Stordahl and Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President, Council, and Mayor. So I brought Mr. Nelson along today just to introduce to the new council members, and for anybody else that doesn't know. Dylan is our lead wastewater stormwater operator, and his responsibilities are the storm sewer system as well as the sanitary system and all the flood control portions of that system to implement all the maintenance and operate all of those. He's a big part of pretty much everything that I bring forward to council when it has to do with those two areas of public works. And today we're presenting the annual sewer cleaning for 2025. It's something that the City Council elected to do in 2011, and they put a preventative maintenance program together to do 1/5 of the city each year. We end up doing more like 1/4 of the city because we have some problem areas. And if you'll notice in the request, we have a project number 1, project number 2. Project number 1 this year is the main project, which is the south end of town, west of Bigland is where we'll clean. Project number 2 is all the areas in red that we clean every year because of various reasons, because of roots, because of grease from restaurants, things like that. So we sent out a request for proposal to 4 different contractors this year and received 3 proposals. They're right in front of you there as well. You'll see an add alternative option that we'd be asking you to reject that at this time. Typically we'll do sewer televising along with the sewer cleaning, but we've already done the last go around, the last 5 years we've televised almost everything. So the televising that we'll do this year is kind of project specific, and we can deal with it at a later time. So our recommendation is to reject the add alternative and award the city's annual sewer cleaning project to Johnson Jet Line for $103,952.92. And I'll add to that as well, we do have enough funds in our sewer enterprise fund to cover the cost.
All right, thank
Any
you.
questions?
Mr. Helms?
Thank you, Mr. President. Have you worked with Johnson before? They've done stuff before for us, right?
Yeah, they do stuff every year probably for us.
Okay, so they're a good
Yeah. They're very
company, do a good job.
Very good.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? I guess I have a question. Could you go in a little more detail on the problematic areas that we end up cleaning every year, and be curious to hear your thoughts on how we could approach these problematic areas and try to not have additional costs there on a yearly basis from these repeat offenders, I guess is one way to put it.
Yeah. You want to speak to that, Dylan?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So Project Area 2 is a lot of rear easement stuff. So that's trees. So we have roots that go with that. Our lines for the most part are fairly open because we do this preventative maintenance stuff. But the problem comes is when there's roots in private services and they grow into our main line. So we got to go through and essentially give it a haircut to keep everything nice and open. A few of these lines have had liners put in them, so if an 8-inch main has a liner put in, we can't go through with a normal root saw anymore. We got to have different equipment to do that, so that's some of the issues. And then as much as our restaurants and stuff try to keep up with doing their preventative maintenance, grease still gets by, so we have to keep up with that. So, any other questions?
Looks like there's some areas out in the industrial park as well that require some additional attention.
Yep, same thing with that. You know, gravel gets in there. There's some grease separators out there in the industrial park, so we could run into the same issues.
Okay.
We are looking at remedies to start to clean some of that stuff up. Some is pipe replacement or pipe relining in some of the areas. And then other stuff that we've discussed is to come up with like a grease program where we could go in and inspect different places, make sure that they're all up to speed, and then have a means built in that we'd have some sort of teeth that we can enforce when it's not. So things we're looking for in the future or looking at.
Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. I don't see any further questions on that topic. Let's move to item number 3. Request to authorize plans and specifications for 2025 City Project Number 3 for Lift Station Number 13 Rehabilitation. Mr. Stordahl?
Thank you, Mr. President. So sanitary lift station was constructed after the 97 flood as part of a temporary housing development. It's located in the southeast corner of the intersection of 23rd Street Northwest and 3rd Avenue Northwest. It's, I believe, the only lift station that's pretty much in somebody's yard. There's some that's between, but the lift station is approximately 26 years old, and the piping and fittings in the wet well are deteriorating and in need of replacement. As part of the project, we're proposing to install a flow meter, which this lift does not currently have one, and an 8x8 electrical control building to shelter all the electrical components. Currently, all the electrical components that operate the lift station are located in an electrical box that is standalone and exposed to the elements. In the winter, this causes problems with snow buildup inside the box and shorts out wiring. As the snow melts, the condensation in the box corrodes components as well. This, like I said before, I guess this lift station is unique because it is in a residence yard. If council moves forward authorizing WSN to prepare plans and specs, we'll contact the homeowner and discuss the building placement for the future building and aesthetics of the proposed building. We've already looked at some alternatives of how we could set it up so that, for instance, let's say we had it painted a certain color, the homeowner decides to switch the color of his house or her house or whatnot, we could maybe match up with that very easily. It'll be a small building. We'll try to put it in the best location we can. WSN prepared the estimate that you see before you there for the rehab project. If council moves forward at the next meeting, to approve or authorize WSN to prepare plans and specifications for Lift 13 rehab. We will contact that residence and discuss with them so they know what's going on as well. Is there any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Stordahl? I see none.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, guys. Unless there is any other topics for discussion, I would be looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I would just like to give my deepest sympathy to Mr. Olsted. Sorry to hear about your loss.
Council shares that message, and our thoughts and prayers are with the Olsted family. Okay,
And then if there's nothing else, I'll move to adjourn.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Helms. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Casmy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting is closed. Thank